Like I
Chef's
had to
kiss.
get car insurance?
Bet he never thought he'd be able to do that.
No, we're in their ocean.
Yeah, no
We're in
joke.
their ocean. I get why we get served raccoons. Why are we getting served Hoof Tok?
Yeah, she didn't make the first move. They had to come to her. Recording in progress.
It always sounds so official.
I look like I'm being interviewed on Dateline.
Well,
Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome back to another episode of Out of the Group Chat Podcast.
Where
We're
again,
here.
only 3 people arrived and not the same 3.
We swapped
You swapped
out
one
of
hand.
Hannah. We swapped out of Hannah.
One Hannah for the other.
Okay, so tonight we promised more structure, but in reviewing our last podcast, we realized that we were either going to just continue to leave Easter eggs and let people figure out who we are, how we're connected, what we do with our lives, or we might like throw them a bone and do a quick intro. So, Hannah, what we're going to do is we're going to introduce ourselves. And since we're the
Read your own bio.
realdeal.com,
Read your own bio.
read your own bio from the website.
In your, for you, in your FFA voice. Read it as written. Because if you're reading it for the first time now, that means you did not read the group chat when we said, read
I
your
read
bio.
it before, but it's even funnier whenever I'm
go read it.
trying to make it sound serious. So I've read it before. Okay. So, all right. She's a whip in the world of nonprofits, passionate about the Enneagram as a tool to become better humans, and is wildly confident about figuring out basically anything. The latter is built upon just the right amount of childhood trauma and double degrees in economics and communications. She's a serial volunteer and believes that in a world where you can be anything, be yourself.
Brooke, do you want to read yours or do you want me to read mine?
Oh, I'll read mine.
Okay.
B is a proud owner of 2 paid-off degrees and a small business. Reed has tenure as a brand strategist, pays the bills. That's true. She also founded a whole foundation, kicked cancer where it counts twice, married her favorite human, and goes by Mom while perpetually wading water. Mostly, she just wants the girls trip to make its way out of this group chat.
Okay, I'll read mine. Here we go. By trade, Mary Kate is an interior designer, adjunct instructor, and corporate communicator. She bought her late grandmother's home and flipped it, which is why she maybe grew a few silver hairs this year. She's like Texas, but from Arizona. She is a rule follower and a dream haver. She was mom of the group first, which for sure prepared her for parenthood. I'm Mary Kate.
Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to the podcast.
Proud of you. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and read Hannah Moe, who did not make it out of the group chat. Is that cool? I'm going to read it anyway.
Yeah.
Because she'll be here next time. Hannah Moe. She's a corporate marketer, small business owner, licensed insurance agent, and also a realtor, which means she's absolutely putting her 2 degrees to good use. One minute she was flying across the country working in advertising agencies, and the next minute she was handing in a resignation because, as it turns out, her coastal hometown is a literal dream. She raises salty cows, which is a fancy way of saying her cattle herd has an ocean view. That latter is 100% true.
Oh my gosh. It's the most beautiful view.
It's like pasture,
ocean.
coastal road, ocean. Like, she doesn't even have to market these cows, which, by the way, you can purchase if you're in South Texas. If you want beef. You could probably buy the cows too, but beef. Anyway, welcome to the podcast. Woo! We made it.
Welcome to the podcast. Woo! Okay, we're going to jump right into this. We have decided to kick this off with a segment. We're going to start with From the Algorithm. And this is things that engaged us on the internet. Hannah and I were kind of talking about this beforehand, but I think we really need to jump back into it.
Was it Hoof Tok?
Hoof Tok.
Dude, that's how you know the sun has gone down, is Hoof Talk is on the algorithm. Is this a universal experience? I get wildly invested.
Oh, same. I didn't realize that other people were not. I didn't even know that this was the name of it. I just was assuming like TikTok had finally figured me out. I was
Oh,
like,
you
this
No,
is the
thought you were a
coolest thing I've ever
unicorn?
seen. No, I didn't think I was a unicorn. I just thought I was a weirdo. I wasn't going
Well,
to tell
I'm gonna
anybody that
be
I'm like, hoof trimming
no,
is what I'm watching.
not
I'm
even
showing my Enneagram 5, but now, like, as soon as I see one show up, I'm like, "Ah, it's probably an abscess. It's probably an abscess."
Oh, yeah. And you're like, poor thing. I just cringe because I'm like, that, owie. Like, it's just got to hurt.
but clearly it's not just ag kids. Like I've had friends that have no ag background whatsoever and they're fully invested. So the
Listen, I can
algorithm is very
understand
specific.
raccoon. I get why we get served raccoons. Why are we getting served hoof talk?
I don't know.
Like, at least 3 of us in our group chat have Googled, "Can you legally own a raccoon?" So that makes sense. I understand cookies. But hoof talk?
Yeah. None of us have been like, we'd also like to be our own farrier.
Yeah.
Also, that seems like a really labor-intense job. Like, I don't think I wanna
Oh,
be a
I think
farrier.
my back would last about 30 minutes. Not even
no,
that.
they
Like
all
they
of
have
my farriers
horrible.
as a kid. Yeah, all of my farriers as a kid, they would have to retire because they're bad.
I
Yeah.
can
Like,
barely clip my own child's toenails. Like, I am not cut out for that. Have you guys seen the one, the 2 daughters whose mom died? This is, like, the 2nd style of
oh,
video I've seen like this. Have you seen it?
I sent it to my sisters, and then my sister
Oh,
sent it to
too
me.
soon.
Like, we literally sent them. No, no, no. It was not too soon. It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, and I'm convinced that my mom would laugh like uncontrollably if my sisters and I sat and did the same thing. So no, it was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in
Okay,
my whole life.
I saw this one after a few months ago, I saw one where there were, like, 3 best girlfriends, not, like, girlfriends, but, like, college girlfriends, and one of the girls died, and so the 2 other best friends did, like, a recap, like, 6 months later and was like, "Okay, you've been gone for 6 months. Oh, I hooked up with that guy," or like, "Oh, I'm still single," or whatever, and I
I didn't
laughed
see
really
that.
hard. I love this trend. I'm here
It's
for this
insane.
trend. I'm here for normalizing my friend died, and we're not kicking her out of the group chat.
I have to say we've had some of those moments after losing my dad, obviously. Like we've had those that it's like TikTok wasn't around, but some of the conversations we could have recorded or recapped. It's just when I saw this immediately, the one story the one story that comes to mind is he passed away and we had the funeral and then we were going to do the ashes later cuz he was cremated. So I had flown back to Arizona cuz it was like a couple months apart. Flew back and I'm getting ready because we have to drive to where he grew up in the mountains cuz that's where we were going to do all that stuff with just a few family members. And a very odd thought struck me as we were packing. And so I call my sister, put her on speakerphone. I'm like, "Where's dad?" And
You
we
forgot
both
it?
just like stopped. And she goes, "He's in the gun safe." I just started cracking up and I was like, "Bet he never thought he'd be able to do that."
So like my mom's gonna go in a mausoleum, like so she is. So like when that mausoleum is built, but it's not built yet, and so she's just hanging out in the china cabinet at her best friend Brent's house right this moment. But
Wait,
pretty
she's in
much
the china cabinet?
she's in the china cabinet at Brent's house. So shout out to Brent, her forever BFF. He literally jokes that she's at every dinner, like family dinner, because like he just couldn't quite. But our favorite joke about my poor poor mother was like it was very important to her that she like fit in her urn. Like I don't know why she thought like it had any relationship to like her
Like her
body
weight?
size. Yep, like it was like very important. And no, like, but she didn't like buy an oversized urn. So it wasn't like we could do anything about it. Like she picked her urn out long, but like I put flowers in her urn. I mean, like my mom's had her urn for like, I can't tell you how long. And so like we've arranged things in it. It's just around. And that's what my mom worked in the funeral business. So like that seems a lot less weird when you explain that. But anyway, it was really important to her that she fit all in her urn. And like we had to figure out how to make that happen. Like, and so like when we put her in the crematory, like, we had to make sure that she didn't have her little basket that she was gonna be buried in or anything so that, like, everything fit in the urn. And she fit in the urn, it was okay.
So
Guys,
much.
no, I I hurt my own feelings today because I went through my notes on my computer, and I showed you the one that hurt my feel I'll add a screenshot to it, to the show notes, so you guys can go read it. But there was also another note that I didn't even tell you guys about, which was 2022 was a dark time, but, like, apparently, planning ahead me, there is a note, you should know this, I should make it a shared note. I named all my pallbearers and extras, like backups, in case those people were not interested, or maybe in case, I don't know, maybe I had too many steroids before I peaced out. Like, I had some backups, I had some alternatives, and I really wanna wish I could go back and be like, "What was the cutoff there?" Like, why were those guys
I thought we were gonna have an open casting call.
No, that's for the roast.
Okay, the
Yes.
roast.
Yeah, so the roast. So, listeners, clearly you saw that I was bald in the last episode, for a season. So, turns out statistically, I'm probably gonna get kicked out of the group chat, or my phone number will get passed on to someone else, and, like, someone will get included in the group chat. Surprise! Anyway, but I think, like, I don't wanna go out and be like, "Oh, Brooke was the best person ever." Like, I want people to roast me and tell all the most, like, the hilarious stories, like, don't hold back. But I think there should be an audition tape. Like, if you wanna speak at my funeral, I need to know about it first, like, I need to approve it. So, I'm perpetually taking admissions, like, send them over, text them, send me a Snapchat, tell me what you're gonna
Don't
say.
you I always see the videos too of like, every single like true crime story, it always starts with she lit up a room. She really and they're
I
like,
don't
no, I didn't. No, I did
no.
not. No, nobody say that.
Well, I think personally the trend is fantastic. I laughed the hardest I think I've laughed, and just hearing them wheeze while they're trying to recall all the things that they needed to tell their mom was just like,
She's like, "I
chef's
had to
kiss.
get car insurance?" I have a serious question for you guys. Team orca or nah?
A team orca all day, every day.
100%. 100%. Like, every time an orca takes a boat down, I'm like,
Goodbye.
"One for the
They
good
probably
guys."
deserved it. They
Yeah, I'm
probably
like,
deserved
that's
it.
one left Jeff Bezos. Like, I'm not really, I'm like, if you can afford a boat that big, like, I'm just not feeling sad for you.
No, we're in their ocean.
Yeah, no
We're in
joke.
their ocean.
They're just
They're like,
living their
"No
life.
gentrification here. This is
No,
orca
thank
territory."
you. I
Okay.
think that's
There's
fantastic.
this on this list here, Queen Camilla and her lack of pierced ears.
This is
She doesn't have
stresses me out.
pierced ears?
No, she doesn't, and it stresses me out. Like
Do you know
this,
who else doesn't have pierced ears? And I didn't
dude,
know until after I bought her earrings.
I didn't know you didn't have pierced ears.
I
No,
bought her
ma'am.
earrings. I bought her earrings.
Never have, never will.
Well, apparently you and
Why?
Queen Camilla have things in common.
I'm not a jewelry person to begin with. I'm like one of those that jewelry kind of I don't textile. I don't like I wear my rings and I'll wear a watch, but just the thought of it, I just never been into it. So I just never did.
Party on, Wayne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
I think
think
I would look at this point I would look really weird with earrings, I think. Yeah.
Or are you just scared of getting your ears pierced?
There's
I think
that
you'll.
too. There's that.
Would you get a tattoo?
No.
Oh, is it like the
That's what I
clip where
said.
Kim Kardashian is like, "Why would you put a bumper sticker on a Porsche?"
No, because honestly why it's not the pain factor why I wouldn't have a tattoo, because I honestly cannot think of anything that I would want to get and I would still like it for the rest of my life, if that makes sense.
Not to brag, but I have 3 tattoos.
That's true.
Are you
You have
jealous?
More than
3
me.
tattoos?
Yeah. I mean,
Weird.
they're radiation tattoos, but
Oh, I was like, "No, you don't."
I cried.
And
Did I ever tell you guys
mine's
that?
2.
I cried. I didn't I was like, "I've never wanted a tattoo, and now you're giving me 3 of them?" They don't even warn you, they just come at you with a tattoo gun, they're like, "Don't move." Bzz.
I'm too indecisive. There's no way I could pick something that I'd be like, yeah, this is it for all of eternity. Nope.
Did you guys watch Friends?
Yeah.
Okay, you remember
Um,
when Rachel and Phoebe go get tattoos, and Rachel's like, Phoebe got the whole world. I have 3 whole worlds.
yeah. Well, I was really super stressed that she inherited or her husband inherited like the world's best jewelry collection, and this woman doesn't have pierced ears. Like,
Don't
what are we?
act like they can't transition them into like clip-ons.
They aren't doing. You don't follow the court jeweler or all of those other people on freaking Instagram because like they're not transitioning any of it. They're not doing it. So
You
she just
do follow that?
oh yes, I do. I follow like I have seen like I've done some deep dives on royal like the history of all the royal
Well,
jewelry
why wouldn't they do that? Why wouldn't they just transition it?
because it's all historic. So she just keeps walking around in her coronation earrings, which again are pretty impressive. Don't get me wrong, but like she just
She
keeps
can't
wearing
afford
like
to get more earrings made.
I
She's on a
think
budget.
I think they're trying like after he opened parliament in his like
Don't know what that means.
finery and like so the king opens parliament like for business or whatever whenever they like are back in session.
Mhm.
The king comes and makes their like they come up in their like literal gilded carriage and their crazy ass like she wears a big old crown and he does too, so like they show up. He was talking about how hard it must be for everyone experiencing economic struggles while he's dressed in millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of jewelry. And so I'm guessing at some point that didn't go great. And they're probably thinking, probably better just recycle what we've got. Like,
Diana
Okay.
got the last laugh. I think that's
Honestly.
what that is.
Yeah,
she's always
for
going to have the last
sure,
laugh.
for
Oh
sure.
my God.
Queen Kate is gonna be.
Yes, that is
I'm
true.
not British, but I'm here for that. You
Yeah.
know why I like Queen Kate? Because we have party girl photos of her. It's like she was on Facebook back when it was a .edu. She's one with the people being us. And she's like,
Yes.
oh no, had I known grandma was going to get on Facebook, I wouldn't have posted those photos.
Would not have done that. Yeah.
Totally. She probably added everyone in her class and tried to max out to the 5,000 just like the rest of us. And now she's stuck with friends that she had like in her Kim lab. And she's like, I have no idea who that person is. But we've been commenting on each other's photos since 2010. We're in it
We're in it for
together.
life. For life.
I bet you never added people you didn't know, did you, Mary?
No.
I had a rule.
What?
My rule was I refused to add anyone, period. I never added anyone. So people could add me, but I never added anyone. I changed that rule like later, but like I totally had a rule where I would not
You
add
have
anyone.
to add them back. Like, did you approve them?
Oh yeah, I would approve them, but like I
Oh,
would
okay,
never
okay,
go
okay.
in and like do the initial adding.
Yeah, she didn't make the first move. They had to come to her.
I have no idea why. I don't know why that was a rule. But oh, I think it was like probably like FFA trauma from like
Yeah, that's a rule. That's
because I believe yeah.
no one's going to understand that, but we'll unpack that in a therapy session. Speaking of, our next segment's therapy.
Well,
So I
Let's
do
do
think
that.
we had slated a topic for tonight, but then Hannah Mo decided to bow out because she's got the sickness. She's down with it.
but I bet we could do number 2, which is help. I can't stop volunteering.
That was me.
Raise your hand if this is a problem.
Yeah.
Okay, I do think this
Help.
is an issue when we get into our 30s, probably for a lot of other people 20s. But I feel like I was a late bloomer volunteer, probably because I was like so on my like career sitch in my 20s that I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I want to change the world in my 30s. But Hannah, you just say yes if people ask, which feels very opposite of Enneagram 8. But also, I'm not an Enneagram coach, so I'm not real sure.
No, well, the problem is like if you just sell me on like because here's the thing with Enneagram 8s, like our driver is justice. So like I don't want to volunteer for just anything, but like you tell me that like I'm gonna march in the front of like the line to protect other people, I'm there. Like I'm 100% there. Like I will absolutely be your human shield.
I said, let's launch a foundation. And you said, oh, I can knock out 47 pages of a founding document. Can you give me 72 hours? I was like, I thought we were on a longer timeline than that. But yeah, that sounds great.
Do we know why I can't say no? It's because of my Enneagram 1, and I don't want to disappoint people.
Oh, it's the right thing to do.
The right thing to
Yeah.
do. So here's the age-old question. Is
Yeah.
it okay to say no
Yeah.
to volunteering?
100%.
It is.
Yeah.
It's okay to say no. My problem is I just can't figure out how to do it politely. Because I either run screaming, like again, that's the Enneagram 8 in
Mm.
me. So I'm going like I'm either headlong in it or I'm running screaming and probably cursing and maybe offending on my way out. So I'm trying to avoid help. I don't want to volunteer all the time, but I need to stop.
You need to.
Hannah, I think you wrote a Dear John letter on my behalf to say no to a volunteering
That
opportunity.
is
Do you remember that?
I did.
Hold on. What was yours? Because she wrote me one like an hour ago.
This was several years ago. I just
Yeah, we were
was
in Fort
getting,
Worth.
yeah, we were in Fort Worth, and I was just to my breaking point where I was just being asked too much of one person, and I could not do it anymore, and I was just like frozen because I was like, I have to tell her, no, I cannot do this anymore. I just don't want anything to do with it. Hannah's like, give me your laptop. She's over there. Do, 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 do. Here you go. And I read it and I was like, this is fan-freaking-tastic. Thank you. And all the weight was off my shoulders. And I was just like, oh, send. It was great. I recommend it.
Have you guys been served? No, this is an algorithm thing. I've been served an ad recently for an app where you can say what you're trying to say no to, and then it will write the no text for you.
That's
No,
very specific.
that's amazing.
Yeah, yeah, but Hannah wrote me a no text message thing earlier. So maybe she's just our go-to help me say no to this in a very politically correct way.
We can just say, we can talk about it. Speaking of like all the random notes and stuff, do you remember when we had like the group chat think tank and we were coming up with canned responses for you, Brooke, for all the crazy
That's what Hannah wrote
DMs,
earlier. So I'll tell you. So
the crazy DMs that you get?
I had 3 messages that were pretty similar sitting in my Instagram DMs, and the cliff notes were, my friend has cancer. Can I connect her with you so that you can basically be her Yoda? I obviously know what it's like to have a brand new cancer diagnosis and then a second cancer diagnosis, and I know how scary that is. But like I needed Hannah to help me write, you guys, like to write how my heart feels, because my jerk voice wanted to be like, listen, I got a puppy and you have a puppy, but just because we both have puppies doesn't mean like we have anything in common. And also, my puppy is really traumatizing, so I have therapy every week. Me, I'm not a therapist. I'd be a really bad therapist. Have you heard of the cancer patient Instagram account? I'd start there.
I
I'll
love,
link that.
I think of it as like the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. If you are reaching out, do not
Mhm.
go to the Kevin Bacon. Go down the line. Try like 2nd or 3rd degree, because those people probably have a pretty good idea of what's going on, can offer some kind of advice or feedback or direction, but they're not the Kevin Bacon. And it's a
Well,
little bit easier. But I don't think
also,
people
like,
realize that.
I know, and when people are in a place of fear and scared, like, you just want to find any help, and for me, like, this is scary, like, I'm still in Vietnam.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to talk about it,
You want to
so
put like an out of office message, like, we're just not here.
fun. I honestly explored the idea of putting up, where you can add the auto, like, responses in Instagram where it's like, for some businesses, it would be like, "What are your hours?" And it could be
Yeah.
like, "What's your cancer story?" And I'd be like, "Doop, here it is."
Or like the automated chat bot that just
Yeah,
like
like,
they click the
"What
buttons and it just
what medicine are you on?" "Oop, I'm on this one. I'm not an oncologist, but here's the website if you wanna read about it."
yeah.
Yeah.
Bloop, 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 bloop.
Kind of brilliant.
I should maybe do that tomorrow.
We did launch a podcast and a website and whatnot in just a hot minute. I'm sure you could probably configure a chat bot for your Instagram. Speaking of that, all these great things that we launched, we have some sponsors. Brooke,
We do have
Yeah.
can
some
you tell
sponsors.
us who our
Oh, it's
sponsor is for today's podcast?
I sure can, Mary Kate. Whether it's a family-friendly recipes, information about where your food comes from, or the proper way to make a spicy margarita, Leah Beyer is fueling readers with the things in life that brings her joy. Leah is strong-willed, ambitious, overcommitted, and loud, which is 100% the reason I'm in a group chat with her. Not this one, the one you guys are not in. Anyway, visit buyerbeware.net, BEYER beware.net for tonight's dinner plans. You guys,
Thank
we
you,
have a
Leah.
sponsor.
Thank you,
Thank
Leah.
you, Leah, for sponsoring this podcast episode.
Can you put like
Boom.
a cheering, like white noise crowd right there?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're
The
gonna put
crowd
some
goes
yeah,
wild.
cheering. We're gonna have some cheering. We'll pop her logo up. We'll do something. If you'd like to sponsor one of our next podcasts, send us a DM at out of the group chat podcast at gmail.com. Guys, we have
This-
sponsors. How did that happen?
I'm gonna be honest though, I felt like we needed to be really picky with our season 1 sponsors. And I
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, who are people I've been in a group chat with who own small businesses? Here we are.
Okay, so do we want to tackle another therapy topic or do we want to move on to best recommendations?
I've one, I think, really important question. Are we all in therapy?
Yes. My God,
I'm
yes.
I am not. I
I
am
don't
So
know
not.
what
3 of
happened.
the 4 of us have a therapist. 2 of the 4 of us share a therapist. Fun fact.
It's a true
We
story.
also share a therapist with someone who is sometimes in our group chat,
That
but
is true.
but not always in our group chat. She has agreed to be a special guest in the future, so we'll keep that a surprise. But
Okay.
Mary, what's keeping you from therapy?
I just don't
Mm.
have that feeling of that I need that
Is it because we're such great therapists?
probably.
Have you seen the meme that's like the trickle down therapy effect? It's like, I'm just going to share all the stuff my therapist said. Maybe it'll stick, maybe it won't.
Yeah.
Mm,
No, I just don't feel like it's something that I need for
but
my
if you
mental state.
did,
I would
would you
know where to
go?
go. I would know where to go.
Well, we know which therapist to hook you up with,
Yes.
assuming she's
Mhm.
taking patients ever again.
I'm going to be honest. So
We keep
therapy
her
for me,
rostered.
the first time I was ever associated with like a counselor or a therapist or whatever, I was like 6 because my dad had graduated to heaven and I was in this thing called banana splits. Hilarious. Early 90s were a thing. They would take all of the kids who had dead or divorced parents and we would meet once a week in like a group setting. And can't remember exactly what we did. There was like coloring of pictures and stuff that's probably important. But at the end of the year, if you participated all year, there was a banana split party. My therapist will tell you, our therapist will tell you, that I'm actually really good with processing feelings and emotions, which is why I get so frustrated when it's hard for me. But I think it's because I started at 6 being like, identify your feelings and identify your emotions. Anyway, I try that with my kid now, which is
Oh, you
why
do a
she'll
good
be
job.
like, I'm not mad. I'm sad, mom. Or I am mad and sad. I'm like, you're 4 is what you
Well,
want.
yeah. But then we also know, like my personality, emotions are for the weak.
Okay, John Wayne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just, I deal with
Okay.
things in a different way. What that is, I don't really know, but
Mhm.
I handle it.
That's okay.
You're just seething resentment. That's all.
I've only
Untapped rage.
heard or seen Mary angry where I was like, ooh, like twice ever. So
I don't
When?
know that I
and I've
ever
known
have. I feel
you.
like I've probably provoked it, but I don't know that I've ever seen it.
No.
It's
In
probably been my
Scotland,
fault.
No, you've
in
only
Scotland you did for sure.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
true. You were
Mm.
upset.
Oh, what happened?
Not me.
No, not at Brooke.
I
You
wasn't
weren't
on that
there.
trip. I went the next year.
Oh, was I
Yeah.
upset at you, Hannah?
And I don't think you were upset specifically at me, but you were very upset because someone stole your playing cards.
Oh, those were my the Hooters
Your
playing cards.
Hooters. Yes.
Yeah, that's a reason to get upset. I can see that.
That's fair.
I would throw hands for that. Yeah,
It's fair.
that's fair. Yeah. Yeah, I could
But
see
I remember you being very upset about that. I also remember you being very, very kind to me, even though I'm sure you didn't want to be, when I could not answer the door because I was too drunk.
and you were
So,
in the closet. You were stuck in the
yes,
closet.
I'm
She was trying
strapped in the
she was
armoire.
she was trying to
I
open the
thought we
door.
weren't talking about college because we were really good students.
This
Oh,
was in the
sorry.
summertime, so it doesn't count.
It was
Oh, okay.
completely a summer activity. Yeah, I was just trying new things, and turns out I like cider, and
Appreciate it.
Was
I
good. And the long vodkas. Oh,
those were delicious. But
those were
I overindulged. My libations were it was too much, and I wanted Mary to be able to come in, but I answered the armoire, not the door.
okay. Moving right along. Okay. So we just still want to talk a little bit? Get some more content? You guys good? What do you want to do?
I think it'd be really important to talk about what are not Rex. What are things that should
Oh,
not be Christmas gifts?
anti-Rex.
Like
Anti-Rex.
tried and was terrible.
No, like
Ooh.
do not get me this for Christmas.
Gotcha.
Don't get me a vacuum cleaner.
Oh God. Although
That's like a household appliance. That's
it
not a gift
is.
for me.
No, agreed. Agreed. But there are a few moments in life where I'm like, I really do love a good vacuum.
Okay, where do we fall on pots and pans? Because
Oh,
I love to cook and I cook all the time and I really, really need new pots and pans because I shipped ours out west. But I've been like in this state of I can't decide what I want. Do I want to go straight stainless? Do I want like the cool non-stick whatever?
I've
I
heard those
didn't
are
know,
terrible.
going back and forth. But I've decided what I want. And so I'm like, is that like a weird Christmas gift? Is that like a household appliance? Or is it okay because I like to cook so much?
I think if you want them, it's okay. Like
YOLO.
as long as it feels like it's a gift. As long as it feels like a gift, then like that's how I
But it's
feel. I'm
also a
like, even if it's something I
necessity.
need.
It's
But
a
I
necessity
can
because I need
say,
them.
like
What a
I
first
have the
world problem for all
hybrid
of us.
ones, right? I have the hybrid all clad pans, the ones that are the non-stick, but they are all clad. And I will
Yeah.
say those are very good. Like,
So
because
I
I didn't
kept going.
spring for those stainless steel ones. I went ahead because I found a really good deal of the stainless steel or the non-stainless, the non-stick, and they're really good.
I'm kind of stalking some Black Friday sales right now, but I was really worried about stainless because everybody's like, well, everything just sticks to it, blah, blah, blah. No, we're not
Yeah,
using them right. You have to let them heat up so that the pores close. And like when the little water droplet rolls around the pan, then that means the pores are closed and it's like naturally nonstick.
non-stick.
Mm. Yeah, I just
I
use,
just
how do you say it? Le Creuset? Le
Le
Creuset.
Creuset. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I use.
that's what
I've
I
been
use for my
collecting it for like
cast
10
iron.
plus years.
But I
Everything we have.
also like stuff has got to be able to go through the dishwasher in my house.
I
And
wash some of
that
them in the dishwasher.
you put them in the dishwasher?
Mm.
I don't know that I've never tried to put I've
Some of
never
them
put my
have.
cast iron, but some
Oh
of
yeah,
my
like
like
the cast iron's not going, but like some
Yeah.
of
because
the
like
other ones, the enamel ones, yeah.
The enameled cast iron.
enamel
And
stuff,
then I like condition
like
them.
casserole dishes, like things
Here,
like I have a bunch of pie and casserole dish like glass stuff that's Le
when
Creuset.
I was in my 20s though and had way more time in life, I was a frequenter of the TJ
Oh,
Maxx and the Home Goods, and I scored a lot. Like my very first Dutch oven, it's green, it's like apple green. Scored that in Nashville, South Nashville at TJ Maxx. Like I've just collected them over the years. They're so good. And now my husband is like, "Ugh, we can never use anything else." I'm like, you are a bougie bachelor who didn't even have a pan that matched another pan when I moved in. And now you're like, only the Le Creuset.
it's gotta be the
Wahaha.
best. I
Actually, Leah, our ad read,
uh
my very first Le Creuset was because I was working at an ad agency. She worked for my client, and we were doing an event in Chicago, and she took me to the mothership, the Le Creuset in Chicago, and I got the pumpkin, the little pumpkin croquette. It's adorable. I
I
brought it
think
to
they have
Thanksgiving.
like once a year at that place, they have some crazy like warehouse sale, but it's like you have to get tickets to it and you can score all kinds of deals. I looked into it one time and I was like, there's no way I'm going to get tickets to this thing.
I need you guys to know that someone stole my credit card this year, recently, like a few months ago. And Hannah, I think you know this story because I called you because you
Oh,
were the only one that was gonna believe it. When I tell you, sometimes I'll be at the gas station and they will not accept my credit card because 'cause they'll be like, "No, fraud. Absolutely not. There's no way she is putting that much gas in her vehicle. Fraud. Absolutely not." But someone spent like 4K at LaCrusade.com, and they're like, "Nah."
no problem. That
And I was
sounds
like,
right.
"In fact, that was not me.
That
I've never
tracks.
done that." I was like, "I love that you think I'm that bougie, but ma'am."
Cut it off. Cut it off.
That took me weeks to get reversed too. I was like, "No, I swear to you
Oh,
guys, in fact, I did not do that."
yeah. Like, thanks, but no,
That
I
sounds
would
like
do,
somebody
yeah.
who spent 4,000 on LeCrusade.com.
Yeah, me over here buying at the TJ Maxx. Lipstick are you wearing?
I am wearing, it is Lime Life cherry pie.
How
I have
long
that.
ago did you put that on?
I mean, I put it on about 30 minutes before we started recording.
That's
Hmm.
the stuff that lasts forever.
It does. It really
Yeah.
does. Like I
I
could
even
literally just,
I even have the red lip liner to give it that extra stain power. It's amazing.
yeah, I like it better. Like I feel really bad, so no one like come for me in like the comments. But like my House of Color stuff that is my winter color or whatever. I like this stuff better. It's just a little. It just
What do you mean,
stays
the
and it's a little
formula or the color?
the formula. So like
I
it's
agree. I haven't used what you're using, but I like the colors
I
of the
love the
House of
color.
Color, but the formula is not great.
Yeah, it's very dry. Like I find for my personal lips, it's very drying, and that's why I like this. It's because it's a very, very similar color, but it is a different formula. Because yeah, no, I love the colors
Mm.
that House of Color does. I just can't quite find the right formula that doesn't feel like it dries my lips out, but lasts all day.
Um, Somebody please tell me about magnesium cream with melatonin.
That's me
Oh,
too.
I use that. I use that. Yeah,
That was
I
a
have a hard
recommendation.
time. Oh yeah, that I did recommend that. I'll drop an
Yeah, and
affiliate
I
link
love
for
it.
that one from the Amazon.com in the show notes. So listen, I get like restless legs and I have a struggle going to sleep now with like lack of estrogen. Let me tell you, you put this magnesium lotion with melatonin on your legs, you are asleep within like 8 minutes and you are not
It's
waking up until the morning time. There is a kicker though. I learned this on TikTok. If you are low on magnesium, it burns a little when you put it on. But then, like, you keep applying it every day, and, like, you'll tell when your, like, magnesium levels are normal because 'cause you're like, "Oh, I didn't even notice that I put that on." That sounded
That is
weird. That was kinda
fascinating.
sounded like a bad review, but I'm telling you this stuff is so good. If you
oh,
struggle
it's
with,
so
like,
good.
falling asleep, so good. I don't know about you guys, but, like, I put my head on the pillow, and my mind is still like, "Zzz." I bet you
Oh
can
my,
turn your brain off, can't you, Mary?
No, not
Oh, you
always. No, not always.
the majority of the time?
Sometimes, usually when I hit the pillow, I'm out and I'm very tired and I just go
oh,
out. But if I'm not, then I will lay awake and my brain will just go. So it's like I gotta catch it, and if I don't, then I go into my medicine cabinet and I take 2 little melatonin sleep melts, and then or Dramamine, but usually the Dramamine is because I've had too much dairy and my stomach is not gonna do well. So it's like a double helps the stomach, knocks me out.
I have this note from a family friend in Indiana. Her name's Mary Rogers. Maybe she'll be one of her 4 listeners. Shout out to
woo,
Mary. And the note
Mary.
in my phone on November 4th, 2019, so I was in the thick of it. She sent me a message that said, "Do not believe the things you tell yourself at 3 in the morning." I feel like that relates to us not being able to turn our brains off.
Oh yes, my brain is a big fat liar.
But you know what the 3 o'clocks mean. Has TikTok served you what the 3 o'clocks mean? Why you wake up at 3 o'clock?
No,
Please don't say it has
tell us.
anything to do with heaven.
Well, not in the way you think. It's it's like almost like a witching hour, and it's like the time when like the channels of communication
I don't need
going
to
back
be
and
any
forth
closer to heaven, so this is a
open up.
problem for me.
No, it's like a chance where like there's a two-way communication.
All right,
The
listen,
channel is open.
you were a Christian kid that grew up in Wednesday night church, summer camp church, Sunday church, Tuesday church, when you wake up at 3 a.m. and you've got the bad vibes and you sit up and you're like, in the name of Jesus, you better leave my room right now. I don't have time for this. I gotta go back to sleep. And you're
Someone's
lying
trying
if you
to
say you haven't done it.
Oh,
someone is
gosh.
trying to communicate with you. That's what it means. Somebody's trying to communicate with you. Google it.
I had a coaching client who, when cancer came back, she 100% sent me a sage kit thing. She
Did
was
you
like,
sage
"Can you
your
just,"
house?
I mean, I had to Google it to find out what you do. But yeah, I
Yeah.
did it, and I felt ridiculous, but honestly, I was like, "This is my Sandra Bullock moment." Like, I feel like I'm dancing around the fire pit. From the
The
window to the
to the
wall.
wall.
Yeah, that's what it felt like, honestly. I feel like it worked. I'm still here 2 years later, so that bad juju got out of that house.
So you're gonna drop that link in the sage kit in the show notes.
I guarantee it's on Amazon.
Oh yeah. Everything's
Yeah,
on
I'll
Amazon.
drop that. I'll drop that. We're all
Magnesium
saging our house.
lotion. Yeah,
We're also
let's
gonna
do
have to
it.
Google what exactly is sage doing. I don't know.
Yeah,
Why
I mean, I think
sage?
I don't know.
Could you use rosemary? Like, does
I
sage
don't
have?
know. Seems like sage is important. I feel like there's a reason why, but we should probably investigate that further.
I'm not gonna do that. Will you put that in the group chat when you figure it out?
Yes, I will. Like here, because I am absolutely going to go
You
down
have
that rabbit
just
hole.
given her topic for her rabbit hole tonight. Thank
I'm
you.
like, absolutely going to figure out exactly why it is that we use sage.
And we will have a full in-depth report by the time we wake up in the morning. She's like,
Well,
here are my findings. My
well, on
sources
that
should be
are.
note,
Hey, remember that trip to Fort Worth? We made that chick cry because we were just
someone
telling her.
cried.
No, remember that random girl who like was
Oh.
talking to us and she was having a fight. She ended up, we pieced together that she
With
was
her
having a fight with her husband.
and they were there on an anniversary trip.
Yeah, and it went
Oh,
south, and so she was like trying to talk
First
to
of
us.
all, that was not our fault. We were hanging out by a fire pit in our
yeah,
sweatpants.
just living
Yeah.
our life.
We were not out there being thirst traps.
No,
And to be fair, I'm gonna speak as a whole here. We haven't been thirst trapped since like 2014.
2005.
No one's a thirst trap over here.
No. So do you remember like she was like trying to get to know us and we were just telling our story and turns out it makes people cry.
What story? Oh, my story?
Well, and then I was talking about my dad and it was just like the girl started crying and we're
You're
just
like, don't hang out with us. Someone might die.
yeah, here we
Oh.
are just trying to talk about ourselves and apparently we're downers.
The car is leaving, Hannah. The car is leaving. Wrap it up. Right now. And that's the end of our podcast, folks. If you would like to download some of these, visit out of the group chat podcast.com, streaming everywhere you're listening right now.
All the places. Come and find us.
And also, we launched an Instagram today, so we got one of those too,
And a TikTok.
and a Facebook.
If you'd like to sponsor one of our next podcasts, send us a message at out of the group chat. Hold on, let me try that again. X group.
You really do love a good vacuum. No, I didn't think I was a unicorn. I just thought I was a weirdo. I wasn't going to tell anybody that I'm like, hoof trimming is what I'm watching. Just nothing like a bunch of murdered animals to make you feel right at home.